Hi, welcome to Three Kitchens, a podcast about home cooking. I'm Heather Dyer, here with my co-hosts, Erin Walker.
Hello.
And Sarah Sumasundaram. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, guys.
I think I said your name wrong. I'm always worried I'm going to pronounce it
I'm incorrectly.
It is Somasundaram.
Somasundaram. I will get it. Probably in like year 3 of this, I will be saying it correctly.
Nobody really gets it, so you're forgiven.
Thank you. This is an episode we're calling a side dish because it's not our typical format. Kind of anything goes. We're just talking about food. So let's go. What are we talking about? Erin's got a plan.
Okay. So I have a challenge for us. I have something that has been sitting in my pantry for 2 years and has not been touched. And we need to find a way to get rid of it.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
I know that I can trust you guys to help me with this. Are you ready for the big reveal?
Yes.
Yes, please. What is it?
Spiced
Jamaican rum.
Rum?
What?
I mean, do you want me to drink it or do you want me to cook with it? I'm
so I know
confused.
that you guys could drink this, I'm sure, happily.
Yes.
Well,
we're not drinkers. I don't like rum that much for a drink. And I think this came home with my parents from a vacation a few years ago. And they were like, look, we got you some rum. And I was like, oh boy. And so I thought, here, I'll keep it in view here so you can continue to be inspired.
Okay.
I thought we could split this bottle 3 ways, ladies, and do some baking or cooking, or how can we get rid of this rum that is not a cocktail?
Oh, that is not a cocktail. So it can't be a cocktail. Damn.
I'm not going to drink any of the cocktails you make. Sorry.
No, I don't particularly like rum either. So I wouldn't be drinking it.
I kind of thought I remembered that you were also non-rum.
It's also, isn't there quite a bit of sugar in that dark spiced stuff?
I think it's pretty sweet. Yeah. I think it's what they suggest in a lot of recipes that you bake with rum is like a spiced rum because it's got those flavors, whatever's in rum.
God, are you making me bake again?
I'm sending you to the kitchen to measure stuff out and come up with a recipe. So you guys let me know what you need. We will get it out of this bottle here and we'll try and make something. I don't know. Has anyone ever baked with rum before?
No.
I think I've made rum balls like 100 years ago when that was a thing that people did at Christmas or something.
Do you have an idea, Erin? Do you have some sort of...
No, I was thinking about this last night because I saw it up in my pantry as I was doing the spring cleaning that we've all been doing.
Yes.
And I saw this big bottle of rum and I was like, oh, this thing has to go. And so I figured that you guys would want to help me with it. And, if you need some extra to put it in your cocktail, Sarah, whatever's left over, the prize is you get the leftovers.
That's the prize? No.
That's the prize.
I'll just...
Heather's unimpressed with the trophy. I don't want to win this one.
Bragging rights. That's good enough.
Yeah, I think it'll be bragging rights, but maybe we can whip something up over the next few weeks. We can share it around and see what we think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Challenge accepted.
I think I have an idea.
Okay.
Ooh, I may as well, but I have to do some Googling or something.
Yeah, this is going to take some research, but I know that we can do. I know I went online last night and looked up, baking with rum, and as soon as I did that, the first few pages were like 20 of the best rum baking recipes, 37 ways to use your rum.
Yeah, of course. The best. Best.
Oh, of course it said
the only best. One you need.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, which is the show, the cooking show, like contest where they have to use the secret ingredient. They unveil the ingredient. Is it Iron Chef?
Iron Chef.
Remember the dude? He'd unveil, and there'd be all the bottles of rum, and it'd be like, it has to be the star.
What does he say? He has that thing that he says when he sets them off,
Oh.
right? He's like,
I have no idea.
"Hi-ya-ya."
Yeah.
Is it something in Japanese? Is it
I think
supposed
it
to be
is.
Japanese based?
The original one was Japanese.
I think
Oh, was
so.
it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah. With that really
Right.
theatrical
Yeah,
host
theatrical.
guy with his apple. A la cuisine.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
with that,
Okay.
let's go. It's on.
It's on. Look at Heather. She's like, I want to win this, but I don't want the trophy.
A sash? Could I have a sash?
Ooh,
Yes.
Like a Miss America sash?
I'll put some more thought into the prize since apparently that's crucial for a bunch of middle-aged women.
No, it's crucial for Heather. I never asked for a sash.
Oh my God.
I'm
Okay.
not. As soon as you said baking, I'm not even excited about this. But I think I think I have an idea that does not involve.
Okay.
It doesn't have to
I'm
be
not-
baking, does it? It could be
It doesn't
anything.
have to be baking, but
No.
As long as it's not a drink.
Cook with it
cook with it.
in some sort of way.
Okay.
And you can also drink it, Sarah, if you need extra inspiration.
Yeah, I'm not a
you
big
can-
rum person myself either, but as soon as you brought that bottle out, I was thinking of all the pretty cocktails that I've been seeing on Instagram because it's almost summertime, and I'm like, ooh, cocktail time. But nope, we're baking.
You can make a fancy cocktail on the side. Like I said, I've got a whole. Is there a volume on this bottle? Oh, there is. I just can't see it.
Looks like a liter.
Yeah, I have 1 liter of rum for us to use. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried that we're going to be short.
Running here. All right,
Okay.
maybe I'll make a cocktail on the side, and Heather will have her sash, and Erin will get rid of that bottle for once and
I
for
might
all.
not win the sash. Erin may be sporting her own sash. Well, you might be disappointed with what I create from rum as well. So
you know what?
never
I'm
know.
just going to be happy to get this thing out of my cupboard and for it to have been used because I don't like just tossing stuff out. So,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right.
all right. Well,
Okay, off we go.
off to the races, ladies.
Sounds good. It's almost patio weather in these parts, and that means cocktails. Blend 1.5 ounces of rum, 5 tablespoons of coconut milk, and a cup of frozen pineapples. Pour it over ice and enjoy. Or skip the rum and make it a mocktail. Cheers from 3 Kitchens.
Welcome back to 3 Kitchens. We are back and we have a winner for our rum challenge.
We do?
We do.
The winner's me. The rum is gone. Woohoo!
And we're not drunk.
And we're not drunk.
I still have some rum if you really want to
No.
get drunk off it. Okay.
Nope. Nope.
I have some left too.
All right. So I'm the winner because my rum is all gone. And I also feel like a winner because the recipe I found was a winner.
Totally.
My
It
family
was.
loved it. I think you guys mentioned you liked it.
Oh,
Mhm.
I loved it.
Oh, I really liked it. I gave some to my grandma and she's like, I might have to ask you to go buy me some booze now. Because I grocery shop for her. And she's like, I loved that. Now I have to go out and buy a bottle of rum. So the recipe that I came across came from a website called tasteofhome.com. And it is called spiced rum and pear cake. So I wanted to know, did you guys guess that those were pears in the cake?
Yes, it was obvious,
Yes.
I thought.
Okay.
Yep.
My family had a hard time guessing what the fruit inside
Oh,
was.
it was shaped like a pear and it tasted like a pear. So therefore,
It must, if it quacks like a duck and
it's
walks
just
like a
those
duck.
boys in your house. Those boys, they probably ate half of it and then were like, oh, I don't know what it like,
Yeah.
you know, gobbled it down and didn't look at it.
Yeah. So it used half a cup of my spiced rum, which I thought was a pretty good amount.
Mm-hmm.
It was boiled down until it was reduced by half or more and then added into the wet mixture. It says that this is a cake made for special occasions. You should only make this for special occasions because it has 2 cups of sugar in it.
Ooh, it
Okay.
was sweet. For
It
sure.
was super
Mhm.
duper sweet. And just like putting 2 cups of sugar in a bowl and mixing all this stuff in, I was like, oh my God, this is sweet. It was supposed to have raisins in it, but if I remember correctly, Heather is adverse to raisins. in
No, I like
cooking.
raisins.
You
No,
like
it's
raisins
me.
in cooking? Oh, it's
It's me.
Sarah. I got you mixed up then.
So thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay, so I didn't add the raisins, but I did do the walnuts, the pears, and then it was spiced with allspice and cinnamon. And then the glaze that was over top of it was just icing sugar and rum.
Yes, definitely
Mhm.
tasted the rum and the icing sugar.
Yes, as
Yeah.
did my kids. They were like, "Oh, is this rum? This icing sugar tastes like rum."
Oh dear.
And yeah, they were pretty excited about it. It was supposed to be baked in a 13 by 9 rectangular baking pan, but
Okay.
instead I put it into a round 10-inch springform pan. And so as a result, it took a lot longer to cook just because I kind of changed the volume of batter. And so it was more like an hour and 20 minutes in the
Okay.
oven after the recommended time of 45 to 50 minutes at 350. And it was nowhere near being done. I lowered the temperature of my oven to 325.
Okay.
Just let it keep cooking 30 to 40 minutes extra.
So why did you turn the temperature down?
The outside was starting to brown, and my
Right.
springform pans are unfortunately very dark. And so often they end up giving things a bit of a crispier crust than I
Okay.
really like. Things tend to brown a lot more in them. And so I thought, this is going to take a long time to keep bake in the middle of this thing. I better turn my oven down.
Right.
Okay. Good tip.
I think it worked. It ended up cooking it all the way through, and there was
Mhm,
no
it
gooey
did.
parts. So I
Mhm.
felt successful.
Do you think that it had to bake for longer because of our altitude, and that wouldn't really be a problem in any other city that wasn't?
No, so because it's supposed to bake in like a 13 by 9 pan, but the total volume of that pan is different than the volume of a 10-inch springform pan. Anyone want to do math? Length times width?
Are you kidding?
I
Come
just
on.
did math with my kids, and I'm off of math. Like, I'm finished with it.
Maybe you could give it as a homeschool assignment.
Yeah, perhaps.
It doesn't matter. All I know is that when you transfer from one shape and size to another shape and size, it kind of changes your volume.
Okay.
And so you have to make some adjustments for that in how you bake it.
Okay.
And I wasn't really sure how much I changed the volume because I didn't do the math.
Right.
But when I poured it into the pan and I looked at the other pan, I was like, oh, I think this is thicker. Let's see how this comes out after the first
Gotcha.
45 minutes.
Okay.
I just kind of bumped the pan and it still shook.
Right.
Like it was totally raw. And I was like, oh, this is going to take way longer. So
I do think the altitude comment is fair, though, because
Mhm.
often it is the case wherever these recipes are produced at sea level somewhere, their baking times or boiling times far different from ours. So that is often a concern. And usually I look at what a recipe says about baking time, and I think, like, if I'm needing to budget my time or plan for something, or I'm going to be leaving the house later, I always pad it knowing that that is a possibility.
Because we in Calgary are at what, 1,000 meters?
Oh, I can't remember. I could Google it.
I don't know. Please Google it, Heather.
I'm Googling. You're right. 1,045 meters.
1,045 meters. So,
Perfect.
and so that what that does is actually increases our baking time in Calgary. So sometimes recipes don't really translate very well here.
Yeah. And boiling water as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so I did the math quickly.
Oh, she did the math.
Look at you.
I couldn't help myself. So I just calculated the area of a circle and the area of the rectangle. And so the same volume of batter in each of these would be very different distributions. So the area of the rectangle is 117 square inches, whereas the area of my 10-inch springform pan is only 78.
Okay. So it was thicker.
So yeah.
And the thing is, if it were a thinner slice, I would have needed to eat more because that you gave us a pretty big chunk. My husband and I split it in half. We each ate half. It was a large piece of cake, and I loved every crumb. It was so good.
That was a quarter of the cake that I gave both of you guys.
And I
And
ate half of that.
I kind of felt like it was a cross between a fruit crisp and a cake, because the fruit was so juicy and moist, and it had that like crispy outer layer that it was, and the cakey center. It was kind of like a fruit crisp cake, even though there was no crisp or oatmeal in it. It kind of reminded me of a cross between those two things.
Well, it had similar flavors too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like those kind of fall spice flavors that you associate often with a crisp.
Yes. And I notice all of the pears right now come from Argentina or Australia, and they're really tasty and really good.
Nice.
And they seem seasonal, but then I'm like, but they're fall fruits. And then I was like, oh, it's because it's fall down there right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would make it again for like a coffee cake kind of occasion.
Every day is a day for coffee cake in my world.
Yes.
I don't eat it every day, but I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it didn't have so much sugar.
With 2 cups of sugar, you're going to have to live in the gym afterwards.
I know, but it's so good. I love coffee cake.
Yeah. All right. I liked it. You guys were happy with it. It was a win.
Very happy with it.
Good. So Heather, I want to know what you made. Okay. My son ate it for breakfast this morning because he didn't want it last night. He was too full after dinner. So he had your rum cake for breakfast.
Oh, so did
and
I.
His comment was, "This has a lot of rum in it, Mom."
Oh dear.
So now I want to know, what did you do with the rum you were gifted?
And I put that in my kids' lunches today. So we'll see what they have to say about it. They didn't eat it last night because they were full as well, but
maybe it's the teacher email that's going to be more interesting.
The lunch supervisor, Senora, will call and be like, can you make me some of that? Okay, so I found a recipe on sallysbakingaddiction.com. If you've never used that website, she has lots of great baking recipes. It's like a go-to. I check there first to see if there's something because I know that her recipes work for me usually. So this is called
that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, homemade butter rum cake. I don't know why it's called homemade. I mean, clearly. But whatever. So it's a butter cake, as you can tell from the title, which is essentially like a pound cake. In that your flour, sugar, and butter portions are equal, except I think in a pound cake it's actually a pound measure of each of those. That's what qualifies as a pound cake.
That is all new information to me.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Thank you for teaching me.
So a butter cake is like you take the basis of a pound cake, those 3 equal 1-1-1 ratio, 1.5 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of butter, and a whole lot of eggs, 5 eggs. And then she's added sour cream and 1/2 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of rum straight into the batter. So it is like when you get all the wet ingredients together first, it starts to look like it's curdling because you've got so much butter, sour cream, and then you add rum in there. And it's just like everything is like, it looks suspect, but then you add the dry and it all works together.
Right. Is there a citrus zest in there?
Yes. Orange.
Orange. Yeah, I tasted that for sure. Loved it.
Because I could smell the citrusiness. Yeah. And for some reason it smelled very lemony. And we both bit into it and I was like, no, this isn't lemon, because it was a bit more bitter.
Yeah, it's orange zest. And all of that is baked in a bundt pan.
That looked really pretty, Heather. And
first with pecans. So put pecans into the chopped pecans into the pan, then the batter on top.
My favorite. I was so excited that there were pecans in there.
That was the best part. I thought like it almost needed pecans mixed into the batter, not just on the top.
Yeah, I think you could have. I loved
the nuts were so good. Yeah. And then the glaze on top was melted butter and rum in a saucepan over medium heat, and then vanilla, salt, and icing sugar into that. And it does have a strong, even in her recipe description, she says it's a subtle rum flavor in the cake, but a boozy rum flavor in the glaze. So
my youngest really loved your icing. He was like, your icing's okay, Mom. Heather's icing is the best. Like
he likes rum.
Well, I think it was way more complex. Like there was more going on in there, where mine was just rum and icing sugar with your butter and vanilla and like all that other stuff mixed in there. It just provided, I don't know, better flavor for him. So
Good to know.
and I would say I liked your icing better too.
Good. Yeah, I thought it was really good. As far as butter cakes go, I think it's a good basic
So delicious.
butter cake. And then whether or not you add rum to it, I think it would be good. So anyway, I would make it again. It's a big cake though. Like it was like puffing up the top of even of that giant, it's like a 10 to 12 cup bundt pan. Like it's a big cake. I gave you each a quarter of it. And so that half that we had here is like, it's a lot of cake.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cake, but it was delicious. Both of your cakes were delicious. And what I found interesting was I really tasted the rum in both of your icing, which is like, it really popped there. But my family, savages, they're like those seagulls that come in when there's food and then they run off when it's done. And I'm like, this is what you left me. This is research for a job that doesn't pay. I enjoyed both of them. They were so good.
So good. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, keep making them.
I think I'm done now.
We went a little overboard on the carbs this week. I'll tell you. I feel like
yes. Yeah.
I did have rum cake for breakfast this morning.
I had it for a late night snack.
I thought it was pound cake because you gain at least a pound eating.
I think cake. That's
probably.
That's another name for it, probably.
That's logical. Trust me.
Yes.
Even my kids, they were like, "Wow, we've had so much cake this week."
Yes. And Sarah, you made something really tasty as well.
Completely different.
Totally
different. It wasn't cake. I mean, when we were talking about it, I was a little bit thrown off. I'm like, what? You want me to cook with rum? Because I'm not a dessert, I don't really make desserts, right? But one of my dad's favorite desserts, two of them actually, is creme caramel and creme brulee, which we had a lot of growing up. Because he would buy it all the time, right? Or he would make it sometimes. But I decided at first, I'm like, okay, maybe I should make a creme caramel and put the rum into the caramel. Do you know what a creme caramel is?
Not really. No.
It's essentially a custard that's made with eggs, usually egg yolks. But the difference between a creme caramel and a creme brulee is the creme brulee, you kind of caramelize the top of the custard with sugar, and then you burn the sugar and it caramelizes. With the creme caramel, you have to sort of turn it upside down, and then the caramel kind of falls over.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's really delicious over the custard.
Okay.
Yes, Erin.
Is this anything like panna cotta? These are all new desserts to me.
Isn't panna cotta more cheese?
It's like the same sort of idea, but with cheese.
Think of a flan. It's more like a flan. I like to say flan.
Okay. Or like a flan.
Think of that, right?
I'm just on the Google today. So I just did a quick little panna cotta search. And it is a dessert made with double cream served with caramel syrup. So you're right in that it's similar with the caramel syrup on there.
So the only thing that I wanted to change about the regular kind of creme caramel and creme brulee, or actually I was going for creme caramel first, was that I didn't want to put too much dairy in it because, Heather and I have issues with too much dairy in our desserts.
Yes.
And I wanted to have it replaced with coconut milk. At first, I start making the caramel. So we put sugar and water and kind of boiled it down until it becomes this caramelly kind of texture and color. And it was the funnest thing to play with. You guys should try it sometimes. Like, you can put a chopstick into the caramel and sort of pull it and make little strings out of it. It's really fun. And the kids ate a whole pot full of caramel. Yeah, I know it was bad. As I was reading through the textures of the coconut creme caramel, it doesn't really keep its shape. And so I decided to do a creme brulee instead with a coconut milk. And it was half cream and half coconut milk. And I got the recipe from a website called an Alley event. So ANALLI event.com. And when I was reading through all these sort of descriptions of creme brulee, I didn't realize how many people actually hate creme brulee.
Oh.
Have you guys ever tried creme brulee before? You must have.
I had not, because of the dairy. I cannot eat that cream. It would be a
right.
disaster.
Okay.
Not good.
I've never chosen that off of a menu. I don't think ever. I think I had panna cotta once.
Okay.
That's why I was asking, because I didn't really have anything else to compare it to.
So I'm reading through her little, you know how when you go into recipes, they have these write-ups before the recipe.
Always.
You have to
And
skip it.
this one I found really cute. Most of the time I skip it, but this one I found really cute because her best friend is talking about how amazing creme brulee is. And so they go somewhere and she tries creme brulee for the first time and she absolutely hates it. She thinks it's the most disgusting thing, but she doesn't want to hurt her friend's feelings. So she eats the whole thing, but trying not to gag on it. But then she goes in somewhere else later on in life and she tries one made up with coconut milk. And she absolutely loves it this time. So her recipe used 1 cup of unsweetened coconut milk, 1 cup of heavy cream, so it's half and half, half a cup of sugar, 6 large egg yolks, just the yolks, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I didn't bother with this. I just threw rum in. And then you preheat your oven to 325 and you heat up your coconut milk, cream, and in this case, rum, to a simmer. And then you turn it off.
Okay.
You whisk your egg yolks with your sugar until they're blended well. You slowly add the milk mixture that's cooled down into the egg mixture.
Okay.
You whisk it up, you throw it into ramekins, and you put it in a pan, and you fill up the pan with hot water to about 3/4 of the height of the ramekin. And then you bake it to, she says 40 to 45 minutes. I say more like in Calgary, maybe closer to an hour.
Okay.
Until the middles are a little bit jiggly, but the rest of it is set.
It kind of reminds me of baking a cheesecake.
Yeah, you're baking it with very low, slow heat. And then you take it out and you set it in your fridge. Now, I found that the creme brulee that I gave you wasn't very set. And I heard that that's one of the issues with adding coconut milk instead of full cream. So it was more pudding, like it was more like a pudding, right? Like, did you guys find?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
And then, so I let it set overnight. I took it out. And this was my favorite part. I added sugar on top. And then I put 2 teaspoons of rum on top of it. And I lit it on fire with my food blowtorch thingamajig that I have. And that was so much fun. We actually closed all the blinds. We turned off all the lights. And we did this in the dark so that we could see the blue flame kind of going.
That's so fun.
And then it caramelized the sugar on top.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you thought about the rum flavor. I thought it was pretty strong. I thought the force was strong, at least in ours. It was. What did you think?
I really liked it. I've never had anything like that before. So
okay.
At first I was a little bit because I'm not a big fan of bananas.
What?
Oh, neither
really?
am I.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't like raw bananas. I'm very picky about bananas. Let's put it that way. There are some bananas I like, some I don't.
And Erin is talking about bananas because I put a couple of bananas on top of the creme brulee. And sorry.
But you could take them off.
If I had known, I wouldn't have.
I just pushed them to the side and crunched up I loved the like burnt marshmallow kind of taste with the, like that burnt sugar that was so tasty. And the inside, and then I like chopped it all up and like stirred it up. So I got little bits of crisp all throughout it. So I kind of didn't mind that it was runnier or more pudding-like because I liked being able to kind of crunch up that top and just distribute it throughout. And then I licked the bowl clean.
So you enjoyed it?
Yeah. It was good. I was like, I would try this again.
Okay. I just wonder if it stayed in the oven for longer, if it would have firmed up more, or if it was just the coconut milk in it.
I would guess, as someone who has tried to replace cream in many things, coconut milk is not going to set up. You can't make, for example, like an instant pudding, like you make sometimes for the kids or whatever, like a pudding.
Right.
I have tried to make it with anything but full dairy milk. does not work. It doesn't set the same way. So
Right.
even pudding doesn't
Hmm.
get that far. So that I think that's
Okay.
your reason that it is not going to work with coconut. I didn't trust even half cream, so I only had a little taste of it, but it was delicious. And then I watched one of my kids eat the whole thing. He just like gobbled it up, and I just stared at it because I really wanted to eat it myself
Aw.
because it was so good. And I had a piece of banana with my little all together, the banana, the pudding, the crunchy top, all together was like
Yeah.
perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Now, have you had a creme brulee before?
No, because of the dairy.
Not even a coconut one, hey?
No, unless you can make it with only coconut.
I might try that.
I
Yeah.
don't think it would work the same.
No, it wouldn't work the same.
Might
but
still be really delicious.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way that you can do that dairy.
I have
free.
heard that some people put gelatin in it to kind of firm it up.
Oh, that might work.
So
Okay.
maybe I might just give it a try one day.
Isn't cashew cream sometimes substituted because it
I didn't see any. I wasn't looking for it. So I was looking more for a coconut creme brulee, but
people make like cheese out of cashew cream?
Mhm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that would be
Could be.
total stab in the dark.
Didn't really, me and desserts, but I had so much fun lighting that on fire. It was so fun.
I'm glad you didn't hate
I didn't hate
it as much as you
I
sounded.
didn't hate it. I was just like, where do I go with this? I'm not the best at desserts, but it was the best science experiment and we didn't burn the house down. So I say it was a win-win and
Yeah.
it was tasty and I got to eat your
Mhm.
guys's cakes and it was delicious. So it was a good,
Yes.
It was kind of nice having dessert
Yeah.
all week. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
exactly. Exactly.
Good excuse for it.
And so did my family. My kids were like, "Oh, cake
Yeah, I
again?
know, eh? Yeah,
Yes.
they make
Dessert
Yeah.
again?
Next week's going to be a letdown. They're going to be like, where's dessert?
my
Yeah,
kids were
yeah.
like, they get so excited now when you come to the door because they know you've got something delicious.
The whole family is benefiting.
Thank you, Erin, for the challenge. And
Yeah.
now we know you don't like bananas.
And that you
But
don't like raisins. We've confirmed the
That's
raisin
right.
bias over here. Okay, it's all
That's
good.
great. Well, now you know what to do if you've got that bottle of rum in your cupboard and you've been sitting there for too long collecting dust.
Happy baking.
Thanks for your help, ladies.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.
And now for the fine print. You can find recipe information and photos on Instagram and Facebook at 3 Kitchens Podcast. Why don't you leave us a comment? Give us ideas for future episodes. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you like and subscribe and follow, all of those things help other people find us.